Hello, and welcome to the Pro Series Conversations from CheckBox Pro. My name is Missy, and I'm the founder of CheckBox Pro, where we help school leaders become their most efficient and effective selves by matching them with ed-focused executive assistants. Each member of our team has over 10 years of experience in the education sphere, and though we may consider ourselves pros in some areas, we can't be an expert in every area. This is why we are excited to bring folks working in the education space to offer tools, tips, and insights to make the life of a school leader even more sustainable. Hello, listeners. Today we have Markesha Tisby again because, well, after our last call, she said that there was just a lot left to unpack. So I thought, well, heck, it's my show. I can have her back on. So let's just bring her back in and continue the conversation. So she's back with us today. If you did not listen to Markesha's first episode, then I ask you now to pause this one, go back, listen to that first episode so that you can get a full understanding of the work that she does with K-2 teachers and why phonics is so important. Because that's where she really drills into what is phonics and the importance of K-2 teachers in our educational journey. For those that did join us last time, quick reminder, right? Markesha is an independent educational consultant. She focuses on literacy and K-2 instruction. Her professional background includes teaching kindergarten and first grade, so she's the pro there. She was a district literacy specialist and was also a reading and social studies teaching and learning coach. So she has been in your seat, but has also done a ton of development of folks as well. So Markesha, thanks so much for coming back.
Of course, I'm so excited.
I love that I just keep roping people in. And then, like when you said it, and I was like, "You want to do this round two?" She was like, "Yeah, great. Here I am.
Let's do it."
Okay, so like I mentioned, last time we did a really thorough job of talking about why phonics is so important and how teachers, right, can weave that into their subjects throughout the course of the day. That phonics doesn't just live in that phonics block on the schedule and really shouldn't just live there, right? Like, because it just takes so much practice and internalization. What we didn't really touch on, which you flagged for me after our call, was, we didn't talk about those instructional leaders who are in the building, who are there to coach and develop their staff and their teachers, right? And so because those folks have such an important role in a teacher's development, and is now impacting, they have, that teacher impacts those 30 kids in their class. Mm-hmm. This coach or these instructional leaders, right, now get to see hundreds of kids in a way in which to amplify their impact and making sure that students are making the most gains. So with that in mind, what can a school leader do, or how can school leaders support teachers in delivering high quality phonics instruction, even if maybe that teacher doesn't have a background in early literacy?
Yes. So I hear this all the time, well, that's not my background, or you're the expert. And I love that because I love the content. But teachers often express like that they feel forgotten, like in K2. They'll make comments when the leaders aren't around, like, oh, they really don't care about what we have going on down here. That's their language. They don't really care about what's going on down here. And so the first thing I would say to a leader or school leader or campus leader is to be mindful of how the teachers might be perceiving their value. And we know that when we talk about the importance of third grade being that benchmark, we can't get there with our students if we don't pour into the K2, like the foundational literacy. So I always say if a school leader doesn't consider themselves to be an expert, then find one. Like, of course, they can reach out to me because I love this work, but you probably have experts in your classrooms and on your campus. Become friends with them, like, spend more time with them so that you can, even if it's just walking with them, if they're taking notes, what are they writing down? What are the things that they want to see when they're in classrooms? You have that rock star teacher where you visit their classroom just because you want to see and feel something good. Like when you're having a tough day, you need to just get out of the office and you go to this one room. Spend a little time with them. What are they doing that feels effective or seems effective? ask them. And so start to learn for yourself. You don't have to be an expert, but I would encourage leaders to be the lead learner. So when everyone else is learning more about foundational literacy, they're in the room, they're sitting on the front row, and they're asking questions also. Um, and then I say read. There's a lot out there and it can be a little overwhelming. But I did share some of my favorites with Missy, so maybe you can check those out in the show notes. But it doesn't have to be anything grand, it can be one article and say, okay, can you share this with your team or your instructional coach and see what they pull out? Is this something we could share with K2? What would it look like if we saw this in action in the classrooms? What resources would they need to make it happen? Because I can tell you, every classroom I'm in right now, everyone needs dry erase markers because it's April, right? So, what do they need to be successful? But yeah, and just giving space and time to professional learning and conversations around the upcoming units or the upcoming skills, just like you would if you were having a conversation about inferencing or writing in response to reading. The same process, you can do that with the K2 foundational literacy skills also.
Yeah, I do resonate. I mean, again, I think some of our listeners probably know, like I taught one whole year and it was a fail. But I was teaching science, like I taught eighth grade science, which
Mm-hmm.
was, I mean, it was a tested subject, but I feel like there was so much emphasis, right, on math and reading. And
Mm-hmm.
science and social studies oftentimes just like you're just going to kind of be off to the side here. So that's interesting that K2 teachers are feeling that or getting some sort of sense around, yeah, like we're not a tested subject, like
Mm-hmm.
we don't really matter, like there's not this emphasis, which is really sad because K2 is very different even than science and social studies, right? Like this is the foundational piece that you're talking about. But even when I thought about like science and social studies, or to your point, like worked at a school which just had like a really strong social studies department, like really strong social studies department. It created some excitement for students for school, which again, I think we talked about last time, right? Like if they feel success
Yeah.
in one area, it starts to build that confidence into those other content areas that maybe they wouldn't have. So again, it's like we
Yes.
have these like little sponges in K2 and we get to y'all get to set the tone for what their school experience looks like. And so if you're going to
Yes.
develop anybody, it's those teachers to make sure that they're creating a really good foundation and launching those kids into success moving forward.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
so you sort of touched on this idea of like learn like leaders learning from whether it's the people in their building or reading something. Are there mistakes or common missteps, maybe we don't want to call them mistakes, but common missteps that you've seen leaders make when it comes to the professional development of their K2 teachers?
Well, a couple of things come to mind. So, one would be just like an insufficient amount of professional learning that's provided. So, let's say you start a new phonics curriculum or resource, and your teachers get maybe a 2 hour training in August, and that's it. So now they have to learn a totally new program with just an overview. And when I'm asked to come in to provide like professional learning or to facilitate professional learning sessions, I always ask about the time. And I know that I always don't have control over it because we're using the time that we have to the best of our ability. But I always stress this is not a training, this is an overview. If it's an hour or an hour and a half, or even sometimes even 3 hours, depending on the content. And to know that if your teachers receive an overview, they're going to need some follow up to actually be successful and then for the students to be successful because each system is different markings, different language, different setup, different assessments. And so just providing enough professional learning and coaching for really, really solid implementation. Another thing would be if you schedule a training and you already feel like you're not the expert, be in the room. And I know that time is always of the essence, but maybe you're there for just the beginning, or maybe you're there for just the end. It would be great if you could be there for the whole thing, but speak with the facilitator and say, I, I hear from leaders all the time, I'm going to try to be with you today. And I'll see them at 8:15 and I won't see them again until 3 o'clock. They're like, oh, I tried so hard to catch up with you, but I just couldn't get out of the office. And I get it. But maybe have a conversation and say, I know I can't be in the whole morning. Let's say it's at 4 hours in the morning. If I could come, what time would be the best? And maybe you get that last hour where they're explaining like what a lesson would look like. So at least when you're in the room, these are the things I should look for, right?
Smart. Yeah.
Just to kind of maximize your time and to keep elevating your knowledge and exchange numbers with or emails and numbers. And even if you're not the person who brought an individual into the district, maybe you're the campus leader, still be in contact. I always say, just because I'm not on the schedule doesn't mean you can't reach out to me. I'm available and I love my job. So the other facilitators do also. And I have to add one more,
Yeah.
and it's after the professional learning. So sometimes I have leaders who will join me in a classroom walk or an observation just to see how a teacher is doing with a new resource. And then I can coach in, or I can jump up and co-teach, or we'll just debrief afterwards. Sometimes those leaders will say, oh, I'm in a classroom. I need to do a walkthrough because I haven't done one on this person in a while. And it just makes it a little awkward for me and the teacher because this is a teaching moment and they want to be vulnerable with me. They probably see me twice, and this is the third time, and now I'm getting a walkthrough, and Markesha is here, so I'm already nervous. So just think about that. Like, join in the walk if you can, because I know time is always a struggle. But join in the walk and let's talk together. Like the things that you might jot down, just jot it down so we can talk about it, or the three of us, me, the leader, and the teacher can talk about it, so that on the days where you have a coach in the room, they don't feel like they have an opportunity to try without being like scored or measured, because it kind of defeats the purpose.
This may be a silly question. Is there a difference between like you're using the term coach and then I guess maybe like that leader being an assessor? Like generally coaches they don't do the actual rubric scoring, and do all teachers have a rubric that they have to like, is it every year? It's been a long time since I've been on that side of things. So talk to me a little bit about like maybe the different roles in a person's development, right? Because you're mentioning
Mm-hmm.
coach, which seems to be a little bit more like a cheerleader,
Oh
versus
yeah,
maybe somebody who's, you called it a walkthrough, and so that's
like an
an
evaluation.
evaluation. Yeah. So how do all those kinds of things interplay a little bit? And I know it's not really why I brought
Yeah.
you on, but because you brought it up, I'm gonna pick your brain on it.
Well, I spend a lot of time with instructional coaches and we'll do some walks together. And some of them have like campus or district forms that they will complete. And so, as a district, everyone who enters a classroom to observe might use the same form. It could be a Google form, it could be just a document that they have. And sometimes they ask me to complete this form also. But from an administration perspective, they often um, will complete a formal walkthrough, or observation that is connected to like the teacher's overall performance for the year. And so that's a whole different level of stress, knowing that
Yes.
they're already trying something new. And this is the day where they're to get support. It feels kind of counterproductive to do both at the same time. And I want the teachers to know that it's all about progress. And so every visit, I'm hoping they're growing and they're getting better and they're getting better and they're getting better. But if an administrator, this is the first time they have had an opportunity to see them teach this lesson or use this resource, and they're just scoring them off of their knowledge, and they may have already said, I'm not an expert. It doesn't feel like the best situation for an observation. especially knowing that the teachers, like I have to work on building relationships. So I don't observe anyone. I do, but I don't write anything formal. And I
Right.
always try to help teachers feel safe by saying, I don't know, I say it all the time and they laugh at me, but I don't hire and I don't fire, but I
Yeah.
help. Like that is my job. So when I use the word coach, I'm talking about myself also. I love that that specific part, like getting to say, these are the things that you did really, really well. But tell me more about the choice you made when the student answered like this. What else could you have said to get them to respond? Like
Yeah.
just helping them be reflective and giving them some steps and um, just building their toolbox, putting some things inside. And it just feels like when a teacher is being observed during that time, they don't feel relaxed or they don't feel like they can truly be vulnerable in trying because it's an it feels like an evaluation or it is evaluation. And we know even in your 1 year, Missy, I know it feels like when
Yes.
three adults walk in the room.
Just like heart
Yes.
palpitations. Like you're just like,
Oh,
oh my goodness. Yeah.
my
It's
heart would
very
always drop
stressful.
to the floor every time.
Yes.
It didn't matter. I couldn't help it. It was not something I controlled. And so I still know that feeling. And I just want to help teachers be as successful as possible. And I want them to feel like it's safe to try and to be at whatever capacity that they are currently, because it's all about progress.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just add on here, just like one, I know I work with school leader, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
administrators who always are talking about wish I got into classrooms more often. And the times that they probably are is when they're having to do something formal, whether it's a performance review or
Mm-hmm.
just like a normal formal evaluation that they have to submit. And I think some encouragement for them is, yeah, just try to go into every classroom a couple times a year without the clipboard,
Without the
just
clipboard.
just to like one, it boosts their spirits I think a little bit because they get to just live in the moment, which they love getting to see
Yes.
kids in action. Like they say that is the thing that brings them the most joy. And so I'm like, well, extend this joy to that teacher by just like coming in
Yes.
without anything to write on, just to like, to your point, to learn, to see, to like share in that moment, as opposed to, yeah, let's assess this moment. And not recognizing like, yeah, maybe this is the first time that I've led this type of instruction post my training with
Their
Markesha, right?
training.
Like, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like, or whatever the unit, like this is a brand new unit for us, or like this has just been rolled out. It's like, yeah, it's day one of this content. Let me please don't grade me on today. So
Yes, please don't grade me on today. Exactly.
um okay, the next, like, I want to pivot because again, I think the role that you play, like obviously school districts and whatnot are bringing you in for that professional development. Um, and this is what you do. Like this is, like you said, you really
Yes,
love your job, but it's
I
also,
do.
it's what you do, and it's how and you've got clients kind of across the gamut. So tell us a little bit about like give us an overview of how you help your clients and what your relationship with schools or districts looks like.
So I do love my job. I get excited when I think about it. What I do, so primarily elementary literacy, that is my focus. That's where my heart lies. But I have a really big passion for the foundational literacy and helping K-2 teachers, new teachers. Oh, I love working with new, like I call them baby teachers, brand new, just excited, no idea what they don't know, but just ready to rock and roll. I love that. But I do a lot of work with foundational literacy, so specifically with phonics, maybe helping them take a look at their new program. If it's a program that I don't know, sometimes I attend the professional learning that's coming from like a corporate aspect, like here's your new resource, and then I may provide the coaching beyond the initial training. I really, really, really love helping teachers move from whole group instruction to small group instruction. So a lot of our conversations are around data. And now here's how the students are performing. What choices can we make now? So I like to help administrators and instructional coaches and teachers elevate conversations around data And keeping in mind that like online screeners or, like your beginning of the year, middle of the year diagnostics, they provide like a bird's eye view. Like you're going to see how all the students in the district are performing on like letter knowledge. But if you really want to know how the students are doing, you've got to look class by class and sometimes student by student, and you have to have multiple data points. And so, helping teachers learn how to take anecdotal notes that will really paint a clear picture about what the students need and what they're doing well already. And then, working from like a daily lesson plan, like here's the planning of it, here's what your resource says, how do you make it come alive in your classroom, like internalizing lessons, and then the in the moment teaching decisions. Like the plan might say one thing, but then when you're up in front of your classroom, you notice that something's not right. Yesterday, I was in a kindergarten classroom, first year teacher, and she just looked at me and she said, it's just not working. And I'm like, may I? And so then I kind of co-teach and I'll say, okay, let's take a look at the board or the screen. And I jump in. So I do a lot of professional learning, facilitating. I do model lessons. What I call co-teaching is where the teacher is teaching, and if they've given me like the nod, then I'll jump in with them. So like if I have the lesson beforehand, I kind of prepare, just in case, or look for some potential pitfalls. And yeah, I was trying to think. PD, coaching, modeling, all the things, data dives, forming small groups, planning when you're going to see those groups, what resources do you have, how can you best utilize them. It is really about the needs of the individual. We always talk about responsive instruction, and I try to be a responsive coach or consultant. Like I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader, but we want students to grow. And so the data is a big part, because data doesn't only show us how the students are performing, they also tell us how we're doing. The data also tells us how we're performing. Looking at it from that perspective. And then, of course, moving into like, how do you take this instruction that's in phonics into reading and writing? I'm really trying to support. I have a school in mind to get the students learning to read by reading and to learn to write by writing. I just feel like they're learning a lot, but they're not getting to apply it. And so that's the work that I'm doing right now. And then I also support the upper elementary grades as well.
Totally get that.
This is the testing season. And so we've done a lot of work this year, in a few campuses, and it's different everywhere I go. So I have a campus where I'm working with first through fifth. I also have a campus where I'm just working with first and second, and then I have a campus where I'm working with first, second, and third. It's very responsive to the needs of the campus and what the leaders are asking for. But I'm in the business of helping adults grow readers and writers who read and write well, but also love to read and write. That's the goal.
I love that goal. I love that goal. And yeah, for our listeners, I'll put into the show notes, links to your website so they can find ways in which to connect with you. But I think that's really neat because it's not a one size fits all approach.
Oh
It
no.
is being super responsive, right? Because you mentioned like for some it might just be a capacity issue for that school leader, right? Like they're like, I just don't have
Hmm.
capacity to coach and develop. Or it could be an
Yes.
expertise gap, right? It's like I actually just don't
Hmm.
have the expertise. I have the time, but I don't have the expertise right now. So I need to bring somebody in that can really fill that gap in my own knowledge, which I think is cool to
Yes.
think through of how it is that they partner with you and why it is that they're partnering with you and being really intentional about it. Okay, Markesha, is there anything else? Not to say that you're never invited back to the Pro Series podcast because you're great and we love you, but yeah, is there anything for today that we have a little bit of time, so I want to make sure we've covered everything that you wanted to share with our listeners.
Well, I applaud them for seeing the title and saying, I need to listen to that. Like I'll try that. I'll take a listen in my spare time because that seems interesting, or that's not a personal strength of mine. But I'll just add, there's a lot of noise around literacy in our world right now, and sometimes it can be hard to wade through and figure out what's actually true, And, we hear a lot, the research says, and I say it often, the research says, or, science backed, but just peel back a few layers at a time. And then if your district has a really thorough plan for literacy or a vision for literacy, like lean into that and start there. Um, yeah. But it's such great work. It's so necessary, so important, and I absolutely love it.
Love it. Oh, that's so fun. It's so fun. And like I said, personal touch is like I've got a first grader, and it's been really, really fun to see that literacy piece and that phonics. And we were actually reading, and sometimes I jump in too fast to try to fix the word, or not fix, but anticipate that she's not gonna be able to read it. And she, to her credit, God love her, she was just like, Mom, please give me a minute. She goes, if I'm going quiet, it's because I'm sounding it out. Like I'm trying to think of those sounds. And she goes, I will tell you if I need help. And I go,
Oh,
yes, ma'am, you got it. Like
I love
she wants
that.
to. I know, I loved it. I was like, yes, okay. So it's also like struggling is good. Struggling is good. It is what is actually gonna like lend itself to, once she struggles through the word difficult, right? Like then she will know difficult.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah,
she's like,
fun.
Don't steal my thinking time. That's what I used to tell my kids. Don't steal your neighbor's thinking time.
Okay. I might have to weave that in. It's like, I'm gonna get my thinking time. Love it. Okay. Well, listen. Okay. So last time, my final question to you, you said that you're going to go pick up your son from school. It was like a task that you hadn't done in some time, just I think due to scheduling. So were you able to check that box off?
Yes, I was. And to see his little face, and he's holding the teacher's hands, but he's still running. And she's like trying to keep up with him. I'm like, yes, check.
Oh, good. Okay, good. You got the reaction that you were hoping for too. So that's awesome. Okay, well, you're not off the hook for the question again, because every episode you gotta get this question asked. So what is one box, big or small, personal, professional, that you hope to check off today?
I am hoping to hit the trail today. I have a goal for the month, like how many times I'm out there. And so I'm hoping today I can check another day off walking.
Love that. I know, and the weather's really beautiful. So
yes.
I'm like all about it. Awesome. Okay. Well, listeners, as a reminder, you can connect with Markesha on LinkedIn, or you can schedule a free consultation with her at tisbyconsultant.com. I'm also including the episode notes. Again, some recommended readings that she gave us previously. If you're just looking to increase your knowledge, if she shares any more with me, I'll make sure to add those in as well. But again, you, and first and foremost as leaders, you have to be the learners. Like you have to be the primary learners in your building so that your teachers and staff can see that and embrace that culture, which then will trickle down into all of the students that they support. So Markesha, very big thank you for chatting with me again.
Oh, thank you for having me twice.
Always. Lovely. Okay, well, for all our testers out there, good luck. For all you K-2 folks, just keep pushing and keep just instilling so much joy into reading and writing and all of that comes along with those little sponges that you have in front of you. Wonderful. Well, without further ado, everybody have a great day.
All right.
Thank you all for listening to today's Pro Series conversation. Our team is always looking for more pros to learn from in the field of education. So if you have a recommendation for a future guest, or maybe you are the pro, then send us a note at info@checkboxpro.com. And if you want to hear from more pros, then like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that you don't miss an episode. And by doing so, this also helps more folks find our show. So take a moment to check that box off your list today.